and welcome to Two Gray Goatees and Whistle. I'm Coach Huddy, along with Coach Gonzo. Say hi, Coach Gonzo.
Hello.
So, in this episode, we are going to talk about what it means to build a winning culture. Okay, so building a winning culture, and we are going to use a blending of two philosophies. One is a real person. The other one is one that was created, but the people that made the show, it has a real impact, I think, on anybody who is in coaching or just in life in general. I think they do a pretty good job with real life impact stuff that comes from the show. So we're going to talk about the first person we're talking about is Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, both of us have seen in person give talks. He is one of the co-founders of the Proactive Coaching Partner, or Proactive Coaching is what it's called. And he has like 35 years of experience as a teacher, coach, athletic administrator. He's worked at the junior high, high school, junior college, collegiate levels. He's coached football, basketball, baseball, volleyball. He is a national presenter for the NAIA's Champions of Character program. He currently serves as director for the Proactive Coaching. He speaks nationally to athletes, parents, coaches, school districts, corporations, and shares about building character development and success in sports and life. So he's a very well-rounded person. More in-depth about him as a person. So Bruce Brown, like I said, he's presented over 1.5 million in North America and Europe, and has been recognized, including a Lifetime Achievement Honor from Citizenship through Sports Alliance in 2003, the Wooden Award in 2004. He's been in the Hall of Fame in 2019 from the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association. Books and booklets. He has several books and booklets out there. Teaching character through sports, developing a positive coaching legacy. This one book explores how coaches build life-shaping values, team culture, sportsmanship, parental roles. Another one's 1,001 motivational messages and quotes for athletes and coaches. 101 positive athletic traditions, building positive team legacies. Other books, team building through positive conditioning, the role of parents and athletes. That's a video thing, and I've listened to that one. Basic 8 defense drills, coach quotes for basketball, 101 youth basketball drills and games, ebooks, players with confidence, compete, traits of the elite competitor, motivational strategies for coaches, the impact of trust, and life lessons in athletes booklet. So 11 books, over 20 coaching booklets, 17 plus DVDs, videos out there. You can find some of the stuff on YouTube as well. So that's Bruce Brown. The other one we're going to talk about is Ted Lasso. So anybody who watches the show or has read anything about him, it's really, I've watched the series like 3 or 4 times through already. It's extremely, and I'm trying to get Gonzo to get through it. He's watched 4 episodes now?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, but he doesn't have Apple, so he has to come over and watch it with us. So, but you've enjoyed him so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. It's humorous. It has a really good, his philosophy and how he approaches coaching is really good. And there's been actually tons of books written about just that show. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a Kansas Southern draw, I guess. I don't know, like Lasso. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, y'all, welcome back to Two Great Goats and a Whistle, the podcast where the locker room lessons meet life lessons. I am a teacher and a husband and believer in biscuits fuel positivity. Today's episode is for every coach who ever looked at a team after a tough loss and wondered, what now? Or every parent coach who tried to give a pep talk while a kid is throwing the cleats across the garage. We're diving into, some other stuff a little later on about him. So those are the 2 things that we're going to talk about. So the one we're going to go with today is on building a blueprint based off of these. We're going to mesh these 2 ideas from these 2 people. So the big question is, what makes a program successful? What's your thoughts on what you think would make a program successful?
Ways of going about it, you've got to make sure you worry about the process instead of the end product.
Yep.
You've got to have trust between you and your players and coaches. You've got to care for them, and they have to know that you care for them, and let them know it's okay to make mistakes, and you're going to lose, but the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and we're going to go practice again.
Yep. And I think that's one of the things that's been obviously lost lately is everybody sees the end product, they don't see the work.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. And the process is huge. Trust is a huge thing. If you lose the locker room and you don't have that trust, you'll never, it's so hard to get everything going. So Bruce Brown says, quote, "Who you are is more important than what you do." And the first brick of your foundation in winning a program starts with core values like accountability, discipline, love, and service. All those need to be in place to have a winning program. If you don't have that foundation laid, it doesn't matter whatever else happens.
Wooden's pyramid of success.
Wooden's pyramid of success. Now, that's interesting because that philosophy is tied into Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
And so you actually see the pyramid of success in the show in his office. And it's signed by John Wooden and stuff like that. And it's talked about briefly in the show about that. So, and Jason Sudeikis, one of the guys who made the main character, when they were making the show, he pulled some of this stuff from Wooden because he admired Wooden so much. So, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you shouldn't be coaching if you don't know who Wooden is. So who better to reinforce this than Ted Lasso when we talk about trust, core values, accountability, discipline, love, and service? Ted Lasso is that too. In fact, the sign "Believe" is in the show. I have the actual quote from the story in our room in here. And if you ever want to go and listen to that quick little monologue when he's talking about that, what that means, it's huge. And so for Ted Lasso, coaches like building people, not just plays. So you are building the people, your players up. You're making them develop into great people. That's what makes a great team, is the character that you build within them. And he measures his success with hugs and not highlights. That's kind of a quote you can say from there. We're not saying that the strategy X's and O's don't matter, but if your players don't feel seen, heard, or feel safe, they're never going to give their best. Any thoughts on that?
I agree completely. Only problem is the outside world doesn't look at that.
They don't. And I think as coaches, we have to deflect that the best we can.
I've always, when people ask how my season went, I'd say, well, ask me in 5 years when I see what these young women, young men become when they're growing up.
Yeah. So in the success isn't so step one in building a winning program is define your culture and make everyone feels it. So that's step one, building a culture. Coaching the culture. Bruce Brown teaches the culture always beats strategy. That means your daily habits and behaviors matter more than the weekly game planning. Ask yourself, what does your program stand for? Do your players know it? Can your parents repeat it? Can your captains lead it?
Trying to get captains too is another one of those.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of the strategy. And in the TV show on Ted Lasso, that's one of the things that he does that's one of the first things he does is try to identify who the real leaders are. This is who needs to lead us. So that team covenant comes in. Bruce Brown suggests building it with your team and not for them. So he's just building this with your team. Okay. So don't just have it there, build it with them. And this gives them ownership and accountability. Now add a little Ted Lasso, building in the culture and kindness with curiosity. He doesn't just tell players what to do. He asks them who they are. And that makes all the difference. So let your players have their personality built in there and building that up to build on success. Anything to add to that?
No, I think letting the kids also have fun.
Yeah, fun, especially younger age. Your culture should always feel like this. Even if I miss a shot, my coach still believes in me. Okay. And here's a question for the listeners: is if your team's culture walked into the room, what would it look like? So anybody who's out there coaching right now, What does the culture look like in your locker room? And I think if you can't answer that, that's maybe you need to break everything down and start over again, or at least kind of figure out what it is. And I think that's a lot of self-evaluation you got to do. Segment. So building a system with heart. So talking structure, great culture without great systems. That's a campfire with no firewood. That's the analogy they use. Bruce Brown is big on systems. So, for example, the Captain's Council. This is a group of student athletes who meet regularly to develop leadership, talk through issues, support the team's values, or the pre-season parent meeting where coaches clearly outline expectations, eliminate confusion. Structure builds clarity, clarity builds confidence. Again, and then if we were to pull from Ted Lasso, teaches us that structure does not have to be stiffness. Remember, so there's a part of it called Diamond Dogs. It was a support system that was built up between the coaches and the staff. And they shared their most intimate details about their relationships. It wasn't just about sports. It was, hey, I have this going on in my life. And it's like a support group that they had. So that is something that if your team can build, it creates a ritual recognizing growth, celebrate small wins, even if they're losing. He's building. So you need to ask yourself, are your systems serving your players? Or are they serving tradition? So that's the key part of that. I think that becomes important is your system serving your players, or is it serving something else that maybe not be connected to your team? So not comparing how teams were ran 20 years ago. This is how we used to do it. That mentality that seems to sometimes drag
over and over again.
Yeah.
I think if you know your players, you're going to be doing it. The system's going to be for them.
Right.
Know them well enough that you know what they need.
So transformational versus transactional coaching. So it's tough to have an essential distinction between a transactional coach and a transformational coach. And transactional coaches is one all about the scoreboard. It says, what can you do for me? Transformable coaches is what can I do for you? So it's that mentality as a coach. What is your mentality going to be? Is it going to be looking at the scoreboard? Is it going to be, or how you're transforming those players? And to me, that's the one I want to be. Yeah. So Bruce Brown lives on this. He wants coaches to impact the lives for decades, not just quarters. So personally, I find it more rewarding. It doesn't matter what my former players have done on the field. What do they do when they get older? When I see them being fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, they got their dream job, right? It's not if they went off to college and found success or moved on in that field. That's great. And that's great if that's their passion. But I want them to find their passion, whatever it is. And I think that's how a program should be built.
And one that you still know who they are and what they're doing. And,
yeah.
I mean, talk about who I just saw Tuesday at Buffalo Wild Wings.
One of the former players.
Shane. And,
yeah. Squeak was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing his thing, kind of following his dad. Bullfighting father, following in his dad's footsteps. So Squeak, if you listen, thinking about you, man. So that's just it, though. And these players, when they come and talk to you and stuff after, years of not seeing him and stuff like that, it's nice. It's nice to see. And seeing them on Facebook and they posting pictures of their families and, whatever they got, whatever success they have found. That, I'm just as proud of that as the one that goes off and finds success in the sport that I coached.
Kathleen just sent me a message that she was playing in a alumni tournament in Power. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm playing again.
So that's awesome. And you have those communicating, you're able to talk to your people afterwards, your kids. So building a legacy, stop chasing success. So you're living, trying to impact lives for decades, not just quarters. And how Lasso would fit in this would be he never measured his players solely on their stats. Whether it was players on the show like Sam, Roy, or even Nate, who was the kit man or the team manager, he always was coaching the person, not just the player. Winning programs think long term. They value thank you cards from alumni more than the rings on the fingers. So if you want your program to be a legacy, stop chasing success, start chasing significance. So segment 5, your winning program checklist. All right, so here we go. Whether you're a head coach, assistant, whether you're a parent or player, here's how you start building a winning program. Define your core values. What do I stand for? Number 2, create shared visions. Involve athletes, parents, and assistants. Number 3, teach leadership. Make it a skill, not a status. Number 4, communicate often. Set expectations early and clearly. Number 5, celebrate character, not just stats. And number 6, be an example every single day. All right. So that's 6 core values if you want to build a successful winning program. Anything to add to that or any thoughts on those 6?
I think, like I always tell the kids, that I'm their biggest fan. And those are the 6 right there.
That's all of them. Yeah. Be as supportive as you can towards the players, whether it's player 1 or player 10. So final challenge here I got for people is just make sure that if you're coaching, you want to build that program. Remember, find out why you're getting into that job. Are you getting in because you want to have record books and wins, or are you trying to build a legacy and a relationship with the youth? And to me, I think that's why we got into it. So that's it for that. So our next episode, we're actually going to go dive right into Ted Lasso. That's going to be our next episode. So now I do want to get into our movie mashup. Okay. We're going to do one for this week. And you were big on Star Wars. I'm big on Star Wars. So I figured instead of doing rom-com and a sports movie, we're going to do a sci-fi and a sports movie.
Sounds good.
All right. So here we go. Here's the premise. Okay. A long time ago in a galaxy, just off the back 9, the Intergalactic Country Club of Aldapara stands as the most prestigious golf course in the cosmos. It's home of the elite Jedi golfers, snobbish Sith lords, and an aging groundskeeper who's convinced a gopher droid is trying to sabotage the course. But a young underdog named Luke Skyputter finds a lightsaber 9 iron buried under a sand trap. He thrusts it into the epic showdown between the dark side of the clubhouse and the ragtag group of rebel caddies, led by a wise yet eccentric Obi-Wan Karlobi. Carl Spinkler meets Obi-Wan. So, what are the 2 movies outside of Star Wars? What's the other movie? Has a gopher in it?
Yep.
Kenny Loggins? I'm all right. Got it yet?
I can't. I know I'm watching it right now in my mind, but
Bill Murray?
yeah.
Chevy Chase? Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, I know what.
Caddyshack. Probably one of the best golf movies ever.
Oh, Mr. Robinson.
Yes. All right. So here are the key characters. You got Luke Skyputter. This is a cross between Luke Skywalker and Danny Newen, the scrappy golfer with the dreams of going pro, at least getting a scholarship to Tatooine Tech. You have Obi-Wan Karlobi. This is Obi-Wan and Carl Spinkler. Whereas Jedi Rose mumbles about the great intergalactic gopher conspiracy and gives wisdom like, in your backswing, feel the force, and maybe a little dynamite. You have Darth Cassius, Darth Vader, and Judge Smells? I think that's what it was. Runs the club with an iron grip and worst golf swing, known for his force choking slow players. Chew Beaver, this is Chewbacca and the Gopher, a hairy, mischievous creature wreaking havoc on the greens, communicating in growls and underground tunnels. Then you got Princess Tia. This is Leia and Lacey, the rebel golf fashionista. I guess I say you pronounce it. Who's trying to unionize the caddies to overthrow Caddius's tyrannical reign. Yoda McVoy. This is Yoda and Ty Webb, so Chevy Chase's character. A spiritual short game guru who only speaks in riddles and chip shots. All right, here is your pitch. Far beyond the boom bunkers, one young golfer must swing against destiny and possibly a vengeful droid gopher. All right? Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Luke, I am your father. Instead, it's Luke, I am your foursome partner. Use the force, Luke. Use your wedge, Luke. So, in a quiet moment, the ball slowly rolls into the cup. Explosions. Chewie Beaver dances. Obi-Wan Polly whispers, "That's a Cinderella story right there." There's your scene from Par Wars, A New T. There is your movie mashup. All right, now we're going to go to our final segment. This is our mascots. All right. Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Okay, it gets its name from a naturally bubbling spring located in the town with a nearby lake famously called the Bubble. Okay. The mascot is the Bubblers.
I'm going to say the Bubbles.
It's the Bubblers. Okay, so it's inspired by the springs. It's located directly behind the Boiling Springs Tavern. This is where the springs is located.
Oh, that school was.
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, boy.
Man, they were bubblers.
Yeah, the Bubblers. So that's our mascot of the week, the Bubblers. So I'd like to thank Coach Gonzo for being on the show today. And I'd like to thank everybody who's listening. We got more people listening all the time. Got a hold of somebody real quick, Coach T. Tyrone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he wants to be on the show, so we might try to get him on in the next few weeks. So he's right now got some stuff going on. I got some stuff going on. We got some stuff going on, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll get him on as a guest host.
That'd be cool.
Via remote. So again, I want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time. All right, that's that one.